The phone buzzed loudly in his pocket. Justin had been hearing rumors, but now he knew for sure. His gut had been right all along. Justin sat in his pristine home, a place he'd worked hard to build from the ground up. He'd made sacrifices, saved up, and put in the hours to make sure his family could settle in a peaceful, quiet neighborhood. But there was always a buzz in the air, a slight tension that never fully let him relax. It wasn't the houses, the park, or even the well-manicured lawns. It was his neighbor, Rachel. Rachel was the type of person who believed the world owed her something, but Justin didn't have time for people like that. He had his own battles to fight. Still, Rachel's behavior had been becoming increasingly noticeable, the incessant complaints about the slightest disturbances, the way she glared when she thought no one was watching. But the latest incident pushed him to the edge. His Wi-Fi had been lagging lately, and not just a little, it was practically crawling. After some quick checks, Justin found something alarming: an unfamiliar device was connected to his network. His Wi-Fi was being hijacked. Annoyed but determined, Justin swiftly changed the password, thinking that would be the end of it. But it was only the beginning. The next morning, as Justin sipped his coffee, relaxing on his porch, he saw Rachel storming across the street, her heels clicking against the pavement with a sense of purpose. She didn't even look at him as she marched straight up to his door. When she knocked, it was sharp and impatient. "Did you change your Wi-Fi password?" she demanded, crossing her arms with an expectant glare. Justin raised an eyebrow, taken aback. He barely knew Rachel, but here she was acting like they were old friends. "Yeah, I did," he replied casually. "Why?" Her eyes flashed with anger. "I was using it for months, and now you've cut me off. Do you have any idea what you've done? I can't even work from home anymore." Justin couldn't believe it. "You've been using my Wi-Fi? Without asking me first?" She scoffed, like it was no big deal. "It's just Wi-Fi. I didn't think you'd mind." "I mind," Justin shot back, his voice steady but firm. "I pay for it. I'm not some charity service." Rachel's face reddened. "Oh, so now you're acting all high and mighty? You don't belong in this neighborhood, and I'll be damned if I let you act like you can just take everything." She whipped out her phone, dialing 911. Justin stood still, his heart racing, but his face calm. He knew what was coming. Rachel spoke rapidly into the phone, feigning fear. "There's a man here trying to hack into my devices. I think he's dangerous. He's been harassing me, and now he's messing with my internet." Justin couldn't believe his ears. He didn't flinch. This was just another example of her manipulation. But what she didn't know was that Justin had a plan. He wasn't just standing there waiting. No, he had something far more damning than just the password change. He had access to everything. Inside, Justin sat down at his desk and opened up his router's history. His fingers danced over the keyboard, pulling up logs. And there it was. The data that would expose Rachel for what she truly was. Hours of browsing history on hate-filled forums. She wasn't just using his Wi-Fi for Netflix or work, she was consuming racist content, posting hate speech, and even engaging in illegal activities, trying to hide behind the anonymity of his internet connection. Then, Justin found the real bombshell: financial transactions linked to fraudulent schemes. Rachel had been running scams, using stolen credit card information, buying and selling fake merchandise online. But the final nail in the coffin came when he uncovered encrypted logs related to even darker activities, illegal trafficking networks, ones no one should ever be involved in. Justin leaned back in his chair, the gravity of what he'd found sinking in. Rachel, the woman who had the nerve to call the police on him over a Wi-Fi password, was the real criminal. As sirens echoed in the distance, Justin stood up, his eyes narrowed with quiet satisfaction. He wasn't scared. He was ready. The police arrived a few moments later. Officer Parker, a tall, no-nonsense black officer, and Officer Green, his younger partner, a white man with an analytical look. They approached the house, and Rachel, once again, took center stage, playing her part. "Officers. Thank God you're here," she wailed. "This man has been messing with my Wi-Fi and stealing my personal information. He's dangerous, I swear." Officer Green raised an eyebrow. "Really? Over a Wi-Fi password?" He glanced at Justin, who remained calm and collected. "What's your side of the story?" Justin spoke without hesitation. "I changed my Wi-Fi password this morning. She's been using it without my permission for months. When I refused to give her the new one, she called you." Rachel's face turned red, and she sputtered, trying to spin her tale. "That's a lie. He's hacking me. You need to arrest him." Officer Parker's expression didn't change, but Officer Green let out a laugh. "Wait, you're calling the cops over Wi-Fi? That's the best you've got?" Rachel shot him an incredulous look. "I'm not lying. He's stealing my data. Check his devices." Officer Parker motioned to Justin. "Let's see what he's got." Justin led the officers inside, and Rachel, now uneasy, followed. Justin opened up his computer and plugged in the USB drive he'd saved everything to. The officers peered over his shoulder as he clicked through the evidence. Fraudulent transactions. Hate speech. Identity theft. And worst of all, explicit trafficking attempts. Officer Green whistled softly. "That's not what I expected." Rachel's face drained of color. "That's not mine. I didn't do that." Justin's voice was cold. "Your IP address is right here, Rachel. You've been using my Wi-Fi for all of this." The officers exchanged a look. Officer Parker folded his arms, his face tight. "So, you've been using his internet, and now you're trying to pin your crimes on him?" Rachel sputtered. "No, no. He's setting me up. He's the one doing illegal things." Justin didn't respond. He just stood there, arms crossed, watching her unravel. Officer Green shook his head. "It's all right here. Your Wi-Fi, your browsing history, your financial transactions. Everything." Rachel's frantic attempt to deny it was futile. Officer Parker stepped forward and read her rights. "Rachel, you're under arrest for cybercrime, fraud, and harassment. You're also facing charges for assaulting an officer." Rachel's face twisted in fury as she lunged at Justin. Officer Green was quick to subdue her, but her nails scraped against his skin in desperation. "Let go of me. I'm the victim," she screamed. As the officers led her outside, her shouts filled the air, but the neighbors had already gathered, their phones out, filming the scene. Her reputation was shattered, and she didn't even know it yet. A few hours later, the news broke. Rachel Whitmore's name was plastered across every headline, her arrest footage a viral sensation. The woman who thought she was untouchable was now a national joke. Justin, on the other hand, sipped his coffee on the porch again. His Wi-Fi was back to normal. He'd never felt more at peace. He glanced at his phone. "Bro, you're a legend." Rachel didn't know who she was messing with. He chuckled. "Guess she learned the hard way." And for the first time in a long time, Justin smiled, watching the sun set behind his home. The justice he'd been waiting for had arrived.